Hey, good morning. Happy Monday, guys. New week, new crazy week. Welcome to the off ramp. I am your host, Thomas Jason Anderson. So, man, it's been a crazy weekend. It's been a crazy week. I think there are a lot of emotions. I've been seeing so many comments, man. People are upset. And I understand because I'm a little I'm a little bit out ahead of the news cycle, not because I know more, not because I'm smarter, not because I'm bringing you the facts and no one else is. It's nothing like that. Um, I'm just lucky enough to have been born and raised in Miami, and I've done a lot of investigative work in the media space when it comes to political corruption. And a lot of the focus of my work has been, if not Washington, D.C., New York City, or South Florida. So I know all of the key players for what's happening right now, not only in the Caribbean, in the region here that I'm in, but also in the Middle East. I've just been around it for so long. And, um, and so I've been trying to share that perspective with everyone. I'm not trying to teach everyone anything. What I'm hoping to do is just sort of tell everybody what you already know, but say it publicly so it gives you permission to kind of say it too. I don't know, because that's what I'm kind of feeling right now is people can see the truth, they can feel it, they know big things are happening, and they have a pretty good idea. We all have a pretty good idea of how this is going to roll out. We may have some disagreements, but for the most part, we know, we feel that, hey, big things are happening, and for better or worse, the world is going to change a lot, and it has changed. So we're all on the same page on that. I just think that many people in the media space aren't with platforms aren't expressing this enough. They're not going into enough detail. And so I'm going into the detail of it from my perspective, from my lane, which I said before is this Washington, D.C., New York City, Miami, Caribbean lane. And so, the book I co-authored, Go Bar Bob, there's a really good section in there, a really important section. So someone asked me today, one of the people that I've been friends with on Facebook for many years now, someone who lives locally here in South Florida, and he asked me, very intelligent man. He asked me legitimately, why am I talking about Cuba right now? Because it's not, even if it changes, it's not a significant piece on the geopolitical board, basically. And that's true. That's very true that Cuba is not like a significant piece on the geopolitical board. Cuba doesn't really bring anything much to the table to the world like oil or anything. And so what's there really to talk about with these guys, right? And I think that's sort of in this section of my book, in the book I co-author, Go Bar Bob, it explains how the Cubans have used that position that my one of my neighbors spoke about to me on Facebook. They've used the position of, hey, we're not that important, to become really, really important in ways that most of us aren't aware of. Okay. And the best way I can put it to you is you can hear on the news today, or you see online, people are always talking about hybrid warfare and how social media is used in hybrid warfare, and how, hybrid warfare, you can see economically, you can see it in so many ways through the fentanyl epidemic we have. That's a part of hybrid warfare that we're in. And so you hear this term hybrid warfare a lot. Well, the Cubans, Fidel Castro, those guys are like the originators of hybrid warfare, especially when it comes to using the criminal underworld and corruption, political corruption, to not only get their way politically, but to help the people who have paid them over the years and who have supplied them with funds to keep them afloat, to help them with their needs as well, political needs as well in Washington D.C. So that what I'm saying in sort of in a short way is the Cubans have a prolific spy network, and countries like China and Russia, and even the Brits, other countries outside of the United States, even us, we've used their spy network for all kinds of stuff. And so they may not be important economically or any of the standards that we usually talk about, but where they are important, we're not aware of, and that's in the spy game. And if you think about that in hybrid warfare, what does that mean to us? People think, well, they're spies. Well, who cares? Well, it matters with hybrid warfare. Why? Because spies in today's world, they're stealing intellectual property. They're doing white collar crypto scams. They're doing things like Medicaid fraud, Medicare fraud. You can Google right now. And one of the biggest Medicaid fraud busts in history was run by Cuban intelligence. I mean, that's how deep in they've dug, and that's how prolific they are with their craft. This isn't the 1980s, guys. It's not the 1970s or the 60s. It's not the Cold War. Today's spies are wearing suits. Okay, they're businessmen. They're CEOs. They're running around here doing Medicaid scams, Medicare scams. If you look at all the stuff in Minnesota, I promise you, a lot of that was happening. A lot of the fraud there was originated out of Cuban spy networks and other nations who are our enemies. That's how they come at us now. They're not coming at us by they are trying to keep people hooked up in honeypot stuff. That happens too. But they need funding. And one of the big ways they get funding is either through drugs or some other type of white collar illegal avenue, money laundering, you name it. The Cubans became prolific at that. And they created this template and they spread it throughout the Caribbean and South America. So if people are wondering, how is it that the cartels are so good at like evading US authorities and the DEA and all that stuff? They work with Cuban intel. This is how it goes. This is how it works. The cartels are arms of international spy networks. That's what they are. They're used to fund spy networks. The drug trade is very good for all these international spy networks. And like I said before, when I say spies, I'm not talking about James Bond. I'm talking about people who own real companies, corporations, people who own healthcare companies. That's how deep this is. So the reason why I'm speaking about Cuba so much is because I understand how deep it is. It's so deep. Like I said, if you look at this key section in the book I co-authored, Go Bar Bob, you'll see that there was this man named Manuel Rocha. He was a Cuban spy. He was a Cuban spy within the highest parts of our government, diplomatically and in the military, for almost 40 years. He was an ambassador. And the entire time he was a Cuban spy. He just got busted in 2023. He was a Trump supporter. He was in line with Republicans. And there's a specific section in the book where we talk about how he got involved with this gold mine in the Dominican Republic that ended up creating the first ever scandal, really public scandal that was like international, for Senator Bob Menendez. And it was the underage prostitute story that came out through the Daily Caller and Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller. Okay. The underage prostitute story on the Senator Bob Menendez was something that was out of this world insane. To this day, I don't understand why Tucker Carlson or the Daily Caller reported what they did, but it was clearly a political attack because the reporting happened right before the 2012 elections for Bob Menendez. And so that situation with Manuel Rocha and that gold mine in the Dominican Republic and the stories of the underage prostitutes all wrapped up in one created this huge issue for Bob Menendez. And why was that happening? Because Bob Menendez, anti-Castro man, was in line to become the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And so here we have one of the most anti-Fidel Castro men in the world becoming one of the most powerful men in the world by becoming the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. And so an attack came in on him. Bob said that this was the Cubans who attacked me. And the CIA said, hey, some of the online emails that were used to go after Menendez came from Cuban Intel IP addresses. And so here we have a Cuban spy wrapped up in a gold mine in the Dominican Republic that leads to a senator, one of the most anti-Fidel Castro guys on the planet, getting caught up into a huge sex scandal thing. And in the middle of this sex scandal, Bob Menendez was taking to the White House, to the Obama White House, he was taking an Epstein associate to White House dinners. And not just that, on the private plane with his donor down to the Dominican Republic. And so this is all in the book. And so there was this Epstein element going on with Bob Menendez right around the time that the rumors of sex parties with underage girls came out. Is that a coincidence? And at the same time, a Cuban spy was running the gold mine, the largest gold mine in the Western Hemisphere, which was at the center of all of Bob's issues at the time on that island. So you've got Epstein woman with Menendez. All of a sudden, there's photos of so-called prostitutes, underage girls. He gets in trouble with Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller. It gets blown out of proportion. It really wasn't provable, right? And so I'm looking at that situation. I'm saying, that was the beginning for me where I saw that, wait a minute, Cuban intelligence got its way into the Daily Caller and Tucker Carlson. Somehow, some way, this Senator Menendez scandal that came out of the DR, where this Cuban spy was running the show at this gold mine, somehow, some way, it made it to the Daily Caller. And it was a huge attack on Bob Menendez. And like I said, Manuel Rocha was a Republican, a big Trump supporter. So I could see how the Daily Caller could be tricked into going after Bob. Or maybe they knew. I don't know. But that was the beginning for me, where I saw that Cuba is really dangerous. And they've got people everywhere. They've got spies everywhere. They're involved in every big thing happening in the Caribbean, all over Central and South America. They're all over South Florida. And like I said, they're doing stuff like Medicaid fraud, Medicare fraud. They're committing crimes, drug trafficking, smuggling, money laundering. This is what they do. So spies are not James Bond. Spies are the people doing all the Medicaid fraud. That's who's doing that stuff. That's who does it. That's what's happening in the real world, guys. And so that's why it's so imperative, if you want to know about all of the crime and the corruption happening in the region and getting rid of it, you have to get rid of this Cuban intel thing. You got to do it because they are too prolific. They will get corruption into everything in the region. That's the reason why I'm talking Cuba. And that's the reason why we're focused on Cuba. The Americans are, because we understand in this new hybrid warfare environment, it's not about tanks and planes and all that. It's about the internet. It's about fentanyl. It's about white collar crime, Medicaid fraud, money laundering, gold smuggling, drug dealing. Those are the real problems. And that's where we're getting hit the hardest in this hybrid warfare environment. And Cuba has been the template for this mess for decades. They are good at it. I'm not hating on them. I'm just telling you guys how prolific they are. They are no joke. They are not to be slept on. They seem so little. They're not little. They're dangerous. And they're the best at it. I'm telling you guys, they're really good. All right. So that's why this is such a big issue. And that's why this change in this part of the world is so huge, because it shifts us away from this hybrid warfare environment that we've all been living in this region. Letting you guys know this is the case. So when people are like, "Hey, I'm supporting, Trump on Iran and on this and that," I'm one of these Republican guys. I'm not a registered Republican. Just so you guys know, full transparency here, okay? The Republicans kicked me out. They didn't want me. They didn't like the fact that I wouldn't become like a Byron Donalds or like a Senator Tim Scott, to be a black guy who, you know, does the dance that they expect. I refused. And so they basically told me, if you go woke, you go broke. And I got blackballed. And so the Republican Party kicked me out. So I'm not a Republican. I'm not. I don't have any reason to support them personally. Politically, I agree with some of their ideas, but after being kicked out by those guys, and I tried to work with Democrats and they don't like me because for years I really did some stuff with them politically. I exposed a lot of corruption on Democrats, guys. Senator Bob Menendez being one of them. So they don't like me too much. So I don't have a political party. Neither party likes me. And so I just pick and choose the policies that I like or the politicians who are pushing policies I like. And that's it. And I like what Trump's doing right now. I like it. And I've said it over and over again why I like it. My focus is not ideology. I don't really care about communism or socialism or capitalism. I don't care about any of the isms. And the reason why I don't care about them is because I don't think they're real, especially not in today's world. I don't think any of our citizens are educated enough to be able to abide by these ideologies. I just don't. And so they're kind of useless, right? They're good for story time and they're good to get people thinking that everyone's on the same page. We're not on the same page, guys. We all have different ideas on things. But at the end of the day, where we are on the same page is on the stuff that I'm talking about. We all care about stability. We all care about political corruption. We all care about fraud, especially the kind of stuff that creates fentanyl or fraud where people's retirements are being stolen, or fraud that creates inflation and prices to go up. Political fraud that eliminates our ability to have opportunities. You know, we all feel like no matter what our government is, if we all work hard and do right, we should have opportunities. Well, corruption takes that away. And so we all care about that. And so these are the things I care about, and not the ideologies. It's that simple. And I know that the Iranians and the Cubans, they have been prolific at the spy game. And in the modern world spy game, we're talking about fraud, political corruption, drug dealing, arms dealing, just really bad stuff for money. That's what it is. Okay. And I know in order to get rid of all this fentanyl and all of the drug stuff and all of the mayhem that we're living in, right? The political mayhem, the disinformation, the misinformation, the best way to get rid of it is to get rid of the money that creates it. And the money that creates it is coming from these black hole countries that have prolific spy networks, where their spies are not 007 people. They are people who know how to run cryptocurrency scams. These are people who know how to abduct children. They know how to sell body parts. Like, this is what we're talking about. I don't know why. I understand why people support these guys, because everyone's believing in an ideology. And since you believe in the ideology of Fidel Castro, you can't allow yourself to think that the Cuban country has ever done anything bad, or that their spies have never done anything bad to anybody. That's what you have to believe. You guys have to believe that they were good guys because they agree with your ideology. I just don't agree with that approach, guys. I don't care. I look at what people are doing. That's all I really care about. The ideology, I couldn't care less about. I just don't care. And so please, when we communicate, guys, you would do me a favor on Facebook and the other platforms. When we communicate, please don't communicate me on an ideological level. I don't agree with your ideology. I don't have one of my own. I care about corruption. I care about having a stable environment for all of our families to live in this region. That's what I care about. If you guys care about communism and you think that's the best way to create stability for yourself is communism, well, go talk some more. Don't talk to me about that because I don't think any ideology creates any perfect environment. I don't. I think people create perfect environments by their actions. Individuals do. And then when individuals group together as communities and they act as one in a way that benefits the community, that's legal, that's beneficial for all. When we start doing that at a large level, that's how we get safety. It's not from some ideology. And it's not just because you go vote for somebody. It's like you guys need to we all need to get real with what's going on right now and understand it's our actions that matter. Sitting around debating ideology on Facebook does not matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. It's the actions. And what actions am I talking about? I'm talking about the political corruption stuff, the bad stuff. If you are someone who is opposed to political corruption and in all of its forms, then we are on the same page. And I don't care who it is out there politically, if they are doing things that are corrupt, yes, I will call it out. That's where I'm at. I don't have any allegiances anywhere. And so whatever's happening in the news cycle right now, if it seems like I'm pro this or pro that, it's not that. I'm just going with the news cycle and with what I'm just analyzing what's happening. And I'm explaining the best way I can where I'm coming to my conclusions from. And I'm doing that not just through the lives and videos, but I'm also doing a bunch of pieces that I'm writing on Off Ramp Politics. You can go on the site there. And I also have co-authored the book, and I'm working on 3 books right now. So I am available. I am offering my insights. I'm not coming up out of nowhere. What I care about are the things that are affecting all of us on a daily basis. I don't give a damn about ideology. I'm not in any political party. So that's my focus. And so because of that, I see guys like Tucker Carlson, who's in the news again. He threw out there the CIA setting them up to get investigated by the DOJ for being a spy for Iran. Whatever, bro. What I do know is that Senator Bob Menendez went down for being a foreign agent for Qatar. And I do know that Tucker Carlson is close to Qatar. And I just do know, like I said before, Tucker Carlson went after Bob Menendez with a Daily Caller with that weird Cuban spy thing going on in the DR and the Epstein woman hanging around Bob. I'm just saying. I look at all those pieces and I just say, man, Tucker Carlson is really at a bad place. And I get it. He went the wrong way on some things. And I've been saying this to people for over a decade now. It's been rough on me. Part of the reason why I was kicked out of the Republican Party the way I was is because of I countered Tucker Carlson. I told people who I knew, because I was being honest with them. I said, look, I don't want to work on anything he's working on. And I told them I think he's some type of asset for some foreign nation. I have told people this, and it literally caused backlash on me for years now. It's just the case. And so I've watched this close, and I see Tucker in a situation he's in now. And I saw it coming. And I've told people, some people try to reach out to me. I tell them, don't reach out to me now. Been telling people this. And so why did I know about this? Why have I been saying it? Why am I bringing it up now? It's more of the hybrid warfare stuff. Part of the hybrid warfare that we are under is we are being inundated with misinformation and disinformation that creates divides among us, among our families, within our communities. This is hybrid warfare. People in the social media space are benefiting monetarily in creating division in America. Tucker Carlson is top of the list. Him and his crew, they benefit huge financially. Their entire organization lives off of dividing America. This is why you can see the kind of people he's drawn to, the kind of people he brings on his show. It's not people like me who are speaking who are trying to bring people together, who are saying, hey, put your ideology aside for a second and come together and let's work on ending these problems like fentanyl and other things, whatever, political corruption. Let's forget about the political parties for a second. Let's forget about the ideology. Let's look at the political corruption situation we have here in America and in the Caribbean and South America. It's really serious. Let's put the differences aside on the ideology. Let's come together and deal with this corruption stuff real quick. Like, that's where I'm at. That's where I think we all should be at. And those are the type of people who are not invited on his show. The type of people invited on his show are saying that the Jews are bad, that they're secretly controlling everybody, that they're trying to create World War X. They're trying to bring in the next Messiah guy, the end of the world. Like, this is all it's all stuff that doesn't bring us together. It divides us. He's bringing on people like Nick Fuentes, who adamant he hates women, he hates black people, flat out. He said all black people should either be in jail or working in the field picking fruits. All black people. This is Nick Fuentes. This is where he's coming from. This is who Tucker Carlson brings on his show. Why? Because that guy creates division. So that's Tucker's job. That's what he does. Whether or not he's taking checks directly from some government official somewhere, it doesn't matter. What he knows is, and all the people in his group know is the more division they create in America, the more money they make. It just pops up out of nowhere. Okay, so I've spoken about this before. I've said Citizens United was a big mistake by the U.S. Supreme Court. What made that mistake worse was our Congress didn't bring in new legislation to create transparency so that we can see who is paying for political content on social media. We don't know. None of us know. We're not allowed to know. And Congress hasn't done a thing about it because they enjoy feeding at the trough. It allows them to raise money easier, this dark money crap. But I think they're starting to realize, hey, the dark money stuff is a problem. It's starting to corrupt us from the inside. It's creating divisions. It's propping up people like Tucker Carlson and his network of people. It's propping them up and giving them the highest platform because they are the most successful at division. And so that's where all the foreign money comes in to pump them up. I don't know how provable this all is, but I'm telling you, that's the process. We've got foreign money coming in through dark networks. Iran and Cuba have mastered this stuff. Venezuela. They come in through these shadow black networks. They get funneled in through LLCs and law firms, and they get piled into campaign accounts. They get piled into advertising deals with different social media platforms. And none of this is disclosed. They're all saying, no, Tucker Carlson says he's just the voice of the regular guy. But he's not a regular guy. How can he be the voice of the regular guy if he's not a regular guy? I don't understand that. You know, he's in a business. He's there to make money, not just for him, but for everyone who's employed by him, for every organization that advertises with him. And he makes that advertising money. He makes all that money for all the people connected to him through dividing America. And that just so happens to be one of the number one things that our adversaries use right now in the hybrid warfare situation we're in. They are rewarding, our enemies are rewarding those of us here with platforms who are creating division in America. And not just division in America, division in Guyana, division in Cuba, division throughout the Caribbean, throughout all of Central and South America. Anyone who has a platform that effectively creates division in free nations with free people, they are being pumped full of cash, and they're being supported by international bot networks to prop them up so that they can continue to go with that toxic content that divides us and keeps us away from focusing in on what's really important. That's what's going on, guys. And so that's why I'm speaking. I'm trying to bring awareness to this because it's important that we all know that it's going to be hard to trust what we hear out here. And the reason why is because there's no way to know who's getting paid by whom. And no one's admitting to it. But you can kind of tell who's who by what they're pushing out there. And this is my thing that I'm sharing with you guys. If someone's making or having success through dividing, then you more than likely they're foreign funded somehow, some way. That's just the reality. I know it's like, well, that's everybody. Think about it. Yes, that's everybody. That's how prolific the hybrid warfare game is right now. That's just the case. So Tucker's in the middle of it. Who knows if he gets in trouble on all this? It might be impossible to prove. Like I said, these guys are experts at taking blood money and converting it into good money, at least on paper. They know how to cut the right marketing deals. They know how to create the proper LLCs. They know how to get through the right networks within the British Virgin Islands. Remember the Panama Papers? Panama used to be a big place for this. So they know how to navigate this to make money go places so that when it does land where it lands, no one knows where it came from originally. That's what's happening, guys. So not even Tucker Carlson may know who's really funding him. He just knows for some reason. I think for the most part, what he knows is, hey, man, when I start creating division in America on this Iran thing, man, I get more marketing deals. So I get more likes, more people respond. I get more followers. I don't know if he's realizing, well, that's foreign guys doing this. And if he got his own people to investigate, they wouldn't be able to prove the source. That's how prolific these foreigners are. These foreign adversaries are. You're not going to be able to prove it, guys, until Congress passes some legislation to deal with that Citizens United ruling so that we can finally get some transparency, so we can finally figure out who's paying whom. But until that happens, we just have to be on the lookout for people who are being very divisive, yet they continue to get more and more of a following and more money. That's some foreign op stuff. That's hybrid warfare. That's just what it is. That's where we're at now. And that's where we have to be until our Congress steps in and eliminates this black hole we've got going, basically. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I had to talk about this, get this out there, because it's really important that people know when you're interacting with me, especially, it's an opportunity to interact with someone who I truly do not have a political leaning any which way or shape or form. I'm 100% focused in on dealing with or focusing in on the issues that really affect us every day, especially in the corruption lane. That's my focus. And so when we talk, guys, just know that's the unique lane I'm coming from. I'm not trying to pitch or push a certain ideology. I'm not. Okay. I believe, actually, in my opinion, I think the greatest government would be a government that had elements of a lot of these different political ideologies. Like I look at communism and I say to myself, well, you know what? Maybe in our government, in a capitalist system we have here, I was thinking to myself, I said, what we could do is maybe make all of the federal worker and government worker people, put them in a communist system that just insulate them just create a thing where they're just in a communist system there, that they get to share it evenly between each other. I thought to myself, communism isn't that bad. It can actually, you could take parts of it and you can use it different places. And I think it can be pretty effective. So yeah, I would be a proponent of making all government workers live within a communist type work structure and pay structure. Yes. Where it's communal, where they all have a pot. They got to, I'd love it. So yeah, I'm not against any ideology. I think every ideology has its place. If you're creative with it, you could do some things. So I'm not against any one of them. So it's a good opportunity, guys, to if you want to pick my brain. You don't have to argue with me. Pick my brain. Really ask me, like, why am I saying this? If you want more of a clarification, I am more than happy to give it to you. I enjoy it, actually. That's why I do the platform every day. I do this show every day. I love it. I like sharing the information that I'm digging up because I dig up so much of it. It's hard to keep it all bottled up inside. And there aren't very many people who will sit and listen, me talking about the intricacies of, you know, FEC law and Supreme Court rulings on it. Like, but yeah, for those of you who have been here, who've stuck by it, who've commented and shared, for those of you that have shown so much love and respect, thank you a lot. I appreciate it. I'm going to continue on this path, and there's big news coming. So hopefully, you guys are getting some info out of this. The big thing I'm hoping I'm offering is just, giving everyone a chance to have an off ramp and to get away from the typical political talk and just stretch your mental legs out a little bit and thinking in some different directions, not arguing or fighting. I'm not trying to push an ideology. I just really would like people to get off on the side of things, get out of the traffic jam, and just have some wholesome discussions, some heartfelt discussions about things that matter. And when we have disagreements, to talk it out, right? And that's what we do here at the Off Ramp. So thanks again for the support, guys. I appreciate it. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Love you all.
Now I'ma put it down like that. I'm leaving, I ain't coming back. You don't like the way I act anyway. You really don't have to react. Don't try to change my mind, in fact. Honey, I've already packed all my stuff. We're no longer kids, let's move on. And you are not my kid, so I'm done. Please don't make me pull my gun. Sorry boy, I can't be the one. You know it, yeah. Nothing lasts forever. You know that a change will make it better. You know that nothing lasts forever. You know that, yeah, a change will make it better. There's no one to blame, you see. Maybe we're not meant to be. There are plenty more fish in the sea anyway. Every day's a different thing, so I'm not into wedding rings. It ain't personal, it's the way I think, yeah. You know it, nothing lasts forever. And you know change will make it better. You know it, yeah. And nothing lasts forever. You